The What It Takes Radio Company. We are back with another edition on this January 11th of the Interesting Ideas podcast. And today it's part of the Cowboy Spirit Radio Network. And it seems that Donald Trump upstaged the Jimmy Carter program. Now, what's that all about, and what happened, and what does it tell us about what might be? Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Stan Houston once again for Interesting Ideas. And it's January the 11th. It's a Saturday morning. January 11th. That means it's 111. 111. Yes, 111. And by 111, usually people are starting to fade on their New Year's resolutions, intentions, commissions, and all of that stuff. Though many people will make it to February, maybe Valentine's Day, but then again, by that time, oh my. Well, this is 25, and this is the year we're going to try and thrive. And so I hope you have greater intentions. And if you're serious, I can help you. And that's important. As a business performance coach for 35 years, I know that have to say, when people come to me and they say, "Oh, I say, are you serious? Are you really serious now?" Because most people aren't. And then I ask the second question, what do you want? So 2025, 111. And this is the day. There's about 10 more days, 9 more days, 10 more days, and things will really change in the United States because Donald Trump will become the 47th President of the United States. He was the 45th. And of course, the whole world knows the story. Donald Trump is probably the best known man around the world, maybe the most powerful. And of course, I caught you with the title. How did Donald Trump, upstage, take over the Jimmy Carter show? Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about that. And as you see, I am dressed in my cowboy outfit. And I put up the Cowboy Spirit Radio Network because we do a lot of our work working with people in the Western genre. A number of podcasts that we do are the Cowboy Up podcast, a Cowboy at Heart. We're going to be doing one on Tombstone, Arizona Roundup. We are becoming the premier production company for those people who have the cowboy spirit. And we're going to be doing the Jesus Cowboy podcast. So I thought I'd just put my White Stallion Ranch shirt on, which is where I love to go, one of the best places in the world. And just kind of put up, since we've been doing cowboy programs all morning, I just left the studio with the Cowboy Spirit Radio Network logo. And we're ready to go. Yes, things are going to change significantly in the United States because, as I said, Donald Trump is going to become the president, and he has decided that he's going to change a lot of things. But I think it's interesting to learn something about that as what happened, because, the news is all over the place. First of all, the incredible fires in Arizona. Arizona has great fires, but this time it is the incredible fires of California. Now, we actually were just very close to a significant fire in Arizona, but it was well maintained and well managed. We saw it all through the night and days, but the people made sure it didn't come down that 500 feet in the mountain and would have taken our home. But we were never in any danger because they handled it quite well. So I always, when I think of the big fire, I think of Arizona, but of course the terrible fire that took place in California. And that has a lot of implications for everybody and everything, even the political world. So that's what I'd like to talk about today. Donald Trump and what happened with the presentation of the Jimmy Carter funeral presentation, and how that literally stole the news of that particular production. Well, it's something you perhaps need to know about the man who's going to be the president of the United States once again. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I think you'll find it interesting, maybe a little bit fun. But again, it's always something we can learn about how an interesting idea can help us to have greater life and impact now. So let's get going. Of course, yesterday the news was very full of a number of things. First of all, obviously the point of view in terms of the California fire, and we grieve, we pray, think of the terrible losses. Well, at the same time, about the same time, the problem was that during the 8th, 9th, and 10th, a long display, the death of Jimmy Carter. There was a service in Plains and Atlanta area. Then it went to to Washington, and then it went back to Plains. I'm not so sure that that Jimmy himself, who was a humble man, I don't think he would have won such a thing. Obviously, you could tell that the people involved in having to fly and do all that, they were exhausted by the whole thing. It really was quite a thing. Well, at the same time, Donald Trump was being sentenced for the supposed crimes, and he was sentenced to nothing, nothing. And except that supposedly the people who don't like him can now call him a convicted felon. Well, as if anybody really cares in this day and age. But he's going forward. And the inauguration, coronation, the song and dance, I'm sure there'll be a part of that. They'll probably have the YMCA Trump dance at the end of the program. I think he'll probably pull something like that off, being the showman that he is. And that's part of what I wanted to say is, in effect, Donald Trump always steals the show. I mean, he owns the room almost entirely. He knows how to do that. Whether you like it or not, that's what he does. And I'm not so sure he is intentional about it, but he really pretty much is. It's just kind of who he is. Now, those of you who watched, because that incident that took place at the funeral, it was televised, but what happened before it began dominated the television scene yesterday. Because what happened is, obviously, as many of you know, that all the former presidents were there, and some of them brought their wives. And as you watched that row in the front where they were, let's face it, nobody was very happy. It didn't seem like anybody was really glad to be there. Obviously, there was, Bill Clinton, and there was the the Clintons. Then, of course, there was Donald Trump and Melania, who were former presidents, but of course, presidents to be. And of course, there was the whole gang right there. Joe Biden was there. Kamala Harris, obviously a very deep, it's terrible to lose. And her husband was there. The Mike Pence, who was now on a good relationship with his former boss and his wife, they were there. Barack Obama was there. Now, Michelle wasn't there. And again, then there was speculation as to why she wasn't there. But those of us who were watching the program could very well tell that it didn't seem that anybody was really, yeah. I remember George Bush, along with his wife, just kind of like that, and you saw it all. But the thing that made the news was the fact that sitting there, and none of these people were really kind of talking to each other very much. Like I said, it was kind of a chosen frozen. Well, there is Donald Trump, and kind of visiting. He greets everybody, and he's sitting next to Barack Obama, and he starts talking to him. And of course, the irony was pointed out that just a few weeks ago, Barack Obama was saying that Trump was a terrible man. He's kind of like Hitler. I mean, what the case. But there was Donald Trump talking to Barack Obama, friendly it seems. And what really struck people is that not only was he talking to him and visiting with him, but something that he said got Barack Obama to start laughing and chuckling. And we didn't see anybody else doing that. Well, that blew everything up, because what it was, here was Trump, and almost everybody there didn't want him to be there, didn't want him to be the president-elect. Well, but there he was, seemingly having a good time. And Barack Obama is like, now, as I said, they're trying to get lip readers, perhaps, say, what did he say? But now, please keep in mind, as some people have pointed out, that is his style. He's a man that demands much loyalty, but he doesn't seem to hold some of the grudges, that are quite traditional. Barack Obama has really banged him up, until how terrible he was. But there he is, talking to him. And in effect, what happened is, so much of the post-show of the Jimmy Carter funeral was taken up by people then not necessarily watching that over again or watching it, but the whole media scene was over and over again as Donald Trump, in effect, ate up the media time, took over the room, owned the room, because he is seemingly friendly, obviously, and it seems that Barack Obama found it a friendly conversation, so much so that he started laughing, even chuckling about something. They got along just fine, it seems. Well, how do you explain that? Well, obviously, part of what we know, because I recently did a program, Everything You Need to Know. No, not everything, but many things that you need to know, whether you like Donald Trump or not. And of course, lots of people do not even like him. They hate him. But there are lots of people who like him and lots of people who love him. It really, there's hardly a neutral opinion of him. And he seemingly has won a bit of the popularity contest so far, whether that's because people are just tired of what has happened in the last 4 years and they're looking forward to a new opportunity. Who knows? The key thing, though, the interesting thing is that that trial that he was found guilty of and was sentenced to be a convicted felon, the irony is that was done to try and keep him from being president, and it probably is one of those things that contributed to him being president. I was thinking he might even actually thank the judge for saying, thank you. If you hadn't done this, I might not have become president. I think it may have even helped him in some respects. So I just mentioned that. Please keep in mind the power of personal presence, being fully there, without being a pest, without being a showboat, without doing all of those things. The ability to, as we say, kind of own the room, or at least to be a person who is working the room, is paying attention, talking to other people. As we say, one of the best ways to be interesting is to be interested in others. If you are interested in others, if you are friendly and present to others, people will find you interesting. I just had to point that out because it was so obvious in a lot of my coaching. I oftentimes say to people, when you're in a situation, be fully there and no place else. Uh, Ask about people, about other things. Instead of talking about yourself, talk about them and what they're up to. And people who say, Trump has this incredible reputation for a lot of things, but many people will say that uh, once you run into him and maybe you begin to find out, you'll find that he's a very interesting person and he's quite funny. And obviously, Barack Obama found something to be funny. Well, it's kind of fun to think about this. Now it will see every day uh, as we're in a transformation time. What will be happening now? Here we are at 111, 111, and we're going to 120. And on 120, we're told that there will be a lot of changes, a lot of transformations, that there will be a big difference in what's going to happen. And how will that affect us? All of those changes. By the way, AI will continue, as I'm finding out more and more. Not only are you going to have to learn how to be a broadcaster like this, you're going to have to. You're going to have to know how to be behind the microphone and, in front of the camera. That's the deal. You're going to have to learn something about the basic use of artificial intelligence. You're just going to have to do that. And we will see. And hopefully you'll spend time on a cowboy experience. That's right. Make this the year. We can help you. I'm very much connected to many of the major guest and dude ranches throughout the West as a result of my work in the Cowboy Spirit Radio Network. And I would recommend that you and your family and even your business, instead of going to a fancy resort, go and have a real cowboy experience. We'll be glad to, go start looking for dude ranches. Go to White Stallion, White Stallion, .com and see the ranch of my choice where I live and love when I'm in Arizona, and find out more about how, maybe it's time to be a little bit of a cowboy and be able to do that. And as one of my good friends said, remember, cowboy is not a gender. Cowboy is a state of mind. In fact, that was said by a cowgirl who said, I'm a cowboy, because being a cowboy is a state of mind. And maybe we need more cowboys in town, in government, in leadership today. Just let that sit on your head for a while. Thank you for your time on this 111 day, and all the best and blessings to us. We want this to be a good year, a better year, maybe even a great year. Let's thrive in 25. Let's make it different. Let's be serious. Let's figure out what we want in life and how to go after it. Let's figure out how to be better in our relationships. Let's give credit to the God who is with us for good things and learn more about that transcendent experience. Make a point of that. Get a little more serious about the fact that we are, as I say, we are not human beings who might have a spiritual experience. Here it is. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And you know what? In many ways, the cowboys and the Indians really knew that. All the best and blessings. We'll be seeing you around in 2025. Bye for now.